Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining. If you're new here, my name is Firdaws.osman and I create content on studying in Germany, working abroad, living abroad, anything diaspora. This is the right place to be. And today's video is very different from what I always shoot. In today's video, we're going to share a story of a lady. We give her the name Efia. That's the name I'm going to give her because I'm not going to disclose the name. Why am I going to share her story? Because I think this is going to be like a source of motivation for a lot of people, because I know some people actually went through this. So sharing a fair story should motivate you if you think you're going through something like this. So let's get right into the video. And it's crazy, my face is looking like this because I'm using like Snapchat to record this video. So I have like a filter. This is not my actual face, okay? I'm using a Snapchat to record. That's why my face is looking like this. The thing is that story is on my laptop, so I'm going to be flipping here and there, so please pardon me, okay? When I first stepped off the plane in Frankfurt, I thought I had entered another world. The air was cold, painfully cold, and for a moment I just stood there, hugging my small handbag like it could protect me from the chill. Back home in Ghana, I had dreamed of this moment for years. Getting a scholarship to study abroad was everything I prayed for. But standing there, surrounded by people who spoke a language I barely understood, I suddenly felt very small. I remembered my uncle's voice before I left. Germany? He laughed. You come back after one semester. You people think Europe is easy? I had smiled bravely then. But as I dragged my suitcase into that freezing air, his words echoed in my head. The first few weeks were tough. My room was tiny and quiet. I had missed Ghana, the sound of the church station, the smell of fried plantain, the laughter of my cousins. The silence here felt heavy. I think we can all relate to this, right? Classes were harder than I expected, even though the program was in English. The professor sometimes switched to German without thinking. I took notes like my life depended on it. In a way, it did. Then came to job hunts. My scholarship wasn't enough to live on, so I printed my CV and started walking into cafes, supermarkets, and bookstores. Do you speak Deutsch? They would ask. A little. I'd say with a smiley that I hid my desperation. They'd nod politely. Sorry, we need some fluency. It was rejection after rejection. I would come home cold and tired, my feet aching from walking all day. Some nights I'd just sit by the window, watching snow fall, whispering, maybe they were right, maybe I can't do this. But then I would remind myself, I didn't come this far to give up. A few days later, I walked to a small cafe near my university. The owner, an older man named Herr Müller, he listened as I stumbled through my German introduction. He chuckled softly. You clean, I teach you Deutsch. Deal? And just like that, I got my first job. It was glamorous. I cleaned tables, washed dishes, mopped floors. But Herr Müller was kind. Every evening, he'd teach me a few German words. It became my second classroom. Months passed and things got better for a while. Then, out of nowhere, life hit hard again. In my second year, I failed 3 subjects. 3! I couldn't believe it. I had worked so hard, but between the job, the language, and the loneliness, something broke. I remember staring at the exam results on the screen, my hands shaking. My hands sank when I saw the red marks. My academic advisor called me into her office. Her tone was gentle but firm. Efia, she said, you have failed too many courses. If you don't pass your recent exams, you could be exmatriculated. The word exmatriculated felt like a death sentence. I barely slept for weeks. I studied with my eyes hurt. Then I heard about something students called the Joker exam. It was a special final chance. If you failed that, you were officially out. I had one joker left. One. The night before the exam, I sat in my room trembling. I called my mother in Ghana. She said, if I remember why you went there, you did not leave home to fail. You left to Rise. The next morning, I walked into the exam hall with my heart pounding. I didn't know half of what I wrote, but I prayed over every line. When the results came out a week later, I passed. Barely, but I passed. I know this feeling. I know this feeling. I remember standing in front of my laptop, tears streaming down my face. That one mark had saved my future. Just when I thought the storm was over, another one hit. That year, I started taking one extra shift at the cafe. I needed money badly. My rent had gone up, and I was sending some home to my family. One day, I got a letter from the immigration office. My heart stopped. It said I had violated the conditions of my student visa by working more hours than allowed. I could be deported. My hands shook as I read it. I had made a mistake, not out of carelessness, but out of survival. I rushed to Herr Muller, showing him the the letter, tears in my eyes. He looked at me and said, "Don't worry, we will fix this." He went with me to the immigration office, explaining that he hadn't realized I'd crossed the limit. He wrote a letter supporting me, showing my academic progress and how hardworking I was. For days, I lived in fear, waiting for their decision. Each time I saw a police car, my heart raised. I imagined being sent back home, my dreams ending just like that. Oh my God. But then, mercy found me. They gave me a warning and reduced my work permit hours. I was safe, for now. That experience changed me. I realized that survival abroad required not just hard work, but wisdom and discipline. After that, I focused completely on my studies. I cut down my hours at work, spent more time in the library, and made a strict schedule for myself. Slowly, things started falling into place. My German improved. My grades went up. I even started tutoring first-year students who were struggling. I built a small community of international friends who supported one another. And then something incredible happened. I was offered a research internship at a top technology firm. Wow, it felt unreal. Me, the same girl who almost got expelled and deported, now walking into one of the best labs in the country. Wow. I worked there with everything in me. My supervisors noticed my dedication, and by the time I graduated, they offered me a full-time job. Wow, congratulations to you dear. Years passed. I built a life in Germany. Not perfect. Sorry, guys. Years passed. I built a life in Germany. Not perfect, but peaceful. I sent money home, visited Ghana when I could, and tried to be a reminder to my younger siblings that dreams are hard but not impossible, definitely. Then, after several years of living, studying, and working here, I received a letter that changed everything. My approval for German citizenship. When I held my passport in my hands, I couldn't stop crying, not because I was leaving my Ghanaian identity. That would always be my heart, but because I had made it against all odds. The girl who almost failed out, the girl who almost got deported, the girl who was told she couldn't make it. You remember what her uncle told her? Don't let people bring you down. But she did. So, sometimes when I walk through the same airport where my journey began, I pause and smile. I think of the scared girl who stepped off that plane years ago, hugging her bag in the cold. She didn't know the storms that awaited her, but she walked through them anyway. Now, when people ask how I did it, I tell them it wasn't luck, it was grace, grit, and the stubborn refusal to give up. Because sometimes the coldest spaces in life bring out the warmest strength in you. I like this story, and somehow I relate to some of the things, and I know most of you can also relate to this if you study in Germany. Like what I've learned here is deportation, exmatriculation. These are one of the easiest things that could happen to a lot of students. I know some cities don't care if you work more than the required hours. Some actually do care, so you have to be very careful. And with failing of courses, in Germany, trust me, you can easily fail courses. And then you have 3 chances, but then you have the joker period. That's your last chance. If you fail, you can easily be exmatriculated. And if you are exmatriculated, you can be deported. But I hope this story influence some one or twos. And this is something I want to start doing on my channel, sharing people's personal experiences, especially if you don't want to like show your face on my channel. You could just send me your story. I'm going to structure it well and I'll narrate it to my people here. So I look forward to listening to your stories as well. So please, you can send it to my Instagram, firdaws.osman. You can send it to my email, firdawsosman@gmail.com. I'm open. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Bye.